So it is like a kind of, it's not really a death for the mind, but it's a death for our old sense of ourself, our old identity, which is derived from the content of the mind, thoughts, images, feelings, memories, and so on. So it is a kind of, this understanding is felt like a sort of death of the separate self, a death of the ego. And the separate self resists it, always finding good excuses to argue with the philosophy behind this approach, any practice one might do, always finding ways basically to perpetuate itself.
I always find that, especially during the beginning parts of your meditations where it's just silence, I am looking for something to do. Yes. I don't know what to do, almost.
No, but Thomas, that's very what you're experiencing then is just the primal impulse of the mind to do something. As you say, you don't even know what to do. It's not as if there's a project that you have. There's nothing you really want to do, but you just want to do something. Your mind cannot bear the thought of not doing anything. Your mind cannot bear the thought that it might not be relevant in what we're speaking of here. So it's very uncomfortable, that period of silence. You must be so relieved when I start talking. Your mind thinks, oh great, there's something I can argue with, something I can think about, something I can attend to. But actually when I'm talking, that's when the meditation is not happening. That's why, for those of you that have been around for a while, I talk less and less during meditations. These last few days I've said quite a lot, but in general I say less and less because the community that's grown up around this teaching is maturing. You need less and less. But also our minds are less rebellious now than they used to be. They're not so terrified of this silence. So your mind is there's an old habit, and it's just an old energy, because as you say, you don't even really know what you want to do. I don't think your mind particularly minds what it does. Anything would be okay, as long as it's doing something. So there's just this impulse, this old impulse. It's an old habit in you. You've been brought up since day one feeling that you had to do something, become something, achieve something, know something, understand something. So now there is just this impulse. It's more at a feeling level than a thinking level. You don't really mind what you think about. Your mind doesn't care what it thinks about, as long as it's given something to think about. That will keep it going. So there's this impulse in you to do something, but that impulse is not being fed here. Your mind's in a state of rebellion about it.